Welcome to MMA Fancast. My name is Luke Payson. Welcome back to everyone who's already a subscriber to the channel. If you're not already a subscriber to the YouTube channel, please subscribe so you can see more great interviews, including the one coming at you right now. Very exciting, coming fresh off yesterday's debut win for Jack Lledo. Jack, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me again.
The Lledo brothers are definitely taking over MMA. You predicted it on this channel. You were very nice to come on MMA Fancast prior, talk wrestling, D1 at Ohio University, talk training, obviously originally wrestling, following your brother James in wrestling, then following your brother James into MMA. And something that I said on your walkout on the pay-per-view stream that really stood out to me from your last interview was you saying that you and James really plan on living the MMA lifestyle, making this a career, making it your lifestyle. So obviously you're off to a great start. Let's back up a little bit before we get to how the fight actually went. What was it like warming up, getting into that mindset, getting ready to go? Your brother was obviously right there with you the whole, every step of the way. What was that whole process like before you made the walk?
It was unique, but it was familiar in a way too. Like, it wasn't too different from warming up for wrestling. Like I mean, getting your hand wrapped, that's different, but I feel like I've done that so many times, getting warmed up for a competition, getting my mind ready as well as like my body warmed up. So I actually felt pretty calm getting warmed up. I felt like I'd been in that position a lot, which was probably an advantage for me, honestly.
Sure. And that is an advantage for anybody who's done the high level wrestling that you have. The tournament wrestling, for people that have been to tournaments, wrestlers have to sometimes nap, rest in between, and then get warmed back up and then get back out there. So there's a lot of kind of like gauging your own, it's not that there's anything wrong with football or basketball or any of the team sports, but they have warm ups all as a team. Everybody's kind of warming up together. Whereas individual sports, I was a track coach for many years, track and wrestling, similar in the sense that you got to be kind of self-determinant. You have to kind of do what works for you in your warm up. What was the walk like? Obviously, 247 does an incredible production value, incredible walkout. But what was that walkout like for you?
It was awesome. It was just how I imagined it to be. I picked a song that was kind of loose, like groovy. I wanted something that would keep me smiling, keep me light, because I didn't want to be all tense and nervous going in there. So I picked a song called "You Make Me Feel Like Dancing." It's like a little 80s, 70s groovy kind of song. And I could hear it just good enough, and I was smiling. It felt good. I felt confident. I felt more calm for the fight than I do for most of my wrestling matches, which is really surprising. But the walkout was great, seeing all my friends there, my teammates. We were rolling pretty deep, so it was awesome seeing all the support.
You were rolling pretty deep. I was getting ready. I was standing in sort of the aisle, the walkout aisle, to do my little voiceover when you walk by. And for you, a lot of people were, getting my attention when we were waiting and saying that they were there for you and couldn't wait for your fight. And that builds. It was an incredible card for our event with 7 matches, which is usually a little bit low. Your brother had obviously been matched for a 185 title fight that was announced. That was all. And then, something happened and his opponent fell through. So there was a lot that was supposed to happen. But for 7, it was a standing room only crowd. It was absolutely insane. You obviously had a lot of fans there. So you've made the walk now as we break this down. What was the first round like? It was your first round ever getting, obviously, you did a lot of sparring. I'm sure James has been happy to punch you in the head to get you ready for this. But what was it like being an actual live first round for you?
I don't know. That was definitely like it was super cool, unique. I had never been in that kind of environment before. Usually, all the sparring I do is real light tech sparring. So that was the first time I've really unloaded all my punches and probably the hardest I've been hit. So it was unique, but I don't know. I felt comfortable in there, which was cool. I wanted to establish some stand up, but like use my wrestling to threaten him. And I think that helped a lot. I got that big slam I was talking about in the first period, which was nice. I think I power bombed him too, which I kind of improvised. But it was awesome. The first round got me hyped up, and it after that I knew I could dominate after that.
Well, I'm sure from a confidence standpoint and also a technical standpoint, when you get a slam like that, a couple things happened. I had the honor of being cage side. A couple things happened. One is the crowd obviously is very educated wrestling crowd, so they clearly love the slam. But unlike a power bomb or a slam on a wrestling match you get more of a thud because of the way the mat is. But an MMA cage is literally plywood and then obviously a thin padding and Matt, did you expect, and you probably didn't realize, it's like a loud, almost like a crack because of the way it.
Yeah.
Did that surprise you? How loud? And anybody that's gotten a good takedown in a cage, be aware because it's elevated. You're going to get this like crack sound. So did that kind of surprise you or pump you up?
It did. I love how the canvas, I guess, makes a sound. It amplifies the slam, gets the crowd into it even more as opposed to just a little thud on a wrestling mat. So it was awesome. I love that the octagon does that.
Sure. Yeah, that's a big part. So talk about your first ever corner experience. Obviously, you've been cornered before, but as far as you have about a minute, you got to get your heart rate down. You're talking to your brother and your coach. How did that whole exchange go? What was it like? Uh, coming out into the second round after your corner.
Yeah, it was cool. I'm super grateful for James's coaches at Southside. They helped calm me
Yes.
down, give me little pointers in between. Most of it wasn't so technical in between round. Like they knew I knew my game plan. He would give me little bits and pieces like try this out. I see this opening, but it was mostly just calming me down, getting my heart rate back down, giving me a little sip of water, and making sure I stick to it, keep my head on straight in between the rounds.
Makes sense. And that's part of hats off to Southside for helping you. You're not necessarily right now connected to the Southside a lot, other than through your brother. You've got a gym out where you're going to college. But obviously, it's great that your brother and Juice is there. And I think there's one other guy.
JR's there.
JR is also there and got off to a quick 2-0 start. Ran into a little bit of of an issue, but obviously we'll be back. And it was a great match, in his match as well. So Southside's doing great things. What was the second round like for you? Did you feel like the pacing changed? Did your confidence change? Do you remember any big moments from the second round?
Yeah, I definitely got some confidence after that first round. I thought like I the physical advantage was obvious, but the mental
Mhm.
advantage was growing after that. I thought I had all the momentum. Um, as far as the second round goes, I haven't watched the fight back yet. I remember I threw him like a little judo throw, which is cool. I've been working on that in wrestling and in MMA. So that was cool that I got that. I was telling my little brother Sam that I was gonna try to hit that because I hit it on him a couple of days ago. So I was gonna try to get that in the fight. So I got it, which is cool. I want to see it on the replay when I get a chance. But that's pretty much all I remember from the second round, to be honest.
Sure, and that's what I mean. It's the same thing in wrestling. You remember some moments where maybe you had to work. If you're in wrestling, you get caught something. You remember that moment. You remember a positive moment. These are also 2-minute rounds, which go by very very quickly. Your brother's now at the level of doing 3-minute rounds, which advanced amateur. You're not too far away from that as you continue. And people will talk on this show how 3-minute rounds really start to think a little bit. And obviously, Pro, which you and your brother are both playing on down the road. And I just did a great interview with Justin the General Patton, who had a potential, I would say, likely knockout of the year candidate. But that thing was incredible. But he's talked. I had him on when he was an amateur. He's talked about 3 5-minute rounds. You really start to see things and kind of develop game plans more. In 2-minute rounds, you got to go out there and you got to win every 30 seconds because there's only 4 30 seconds. That's why I always told people you got to think of it in quarters. It's 30 seconds. You don't have to win every 30 seconds, but if you've been stuck someplace for 30 seconds, you got to make a change. What do you remember for the third round?
Um, I'm not gonna lie, I was pretty tired. It's that when that you get that adrenaline dump, you really start to feel it, and I was feeling it a little bit, but I had way too many people watching me to give up at that point, and I knew I was up 2 rounds, so I just tried to stay smart. I wasn't trying to strike so much and give him a chance to get back into it. I remember I held him against the fence probably a minute at least. I was just trying to control the fight but stay smart at the same time. That's what I remember from the third round.
Well, that makes a lot of sense. And a big part of controlling the fight and staying smart, particularly as the rounds get longer, is finding ways to get that, get that control time, or however that is, So sometimes it's figuring out up against the cage, that clinch, that pressure work that you did. Um, Unlike wrestling, because in wrestling, the points are announced as you go. You know that the referee is putting up his arm and it's added immediately to the clock. I think there's occasionally times where a wrestler might not be fully aware because they're in it, but their coaches can yell it in and they can look over and stuff like that. But in MMA, that does not happen. It's all secret until the end. I would imagine James was confident that you got the win. It was a fairly dominant win. Ended up being as dominant of a decision win as you can get, 30-27 on all judges. So for people that may not know, that means you won every round on every judge. So that's 3 judges, 3 rounds. So basically 9 rounds to nothing, because it could, there can be variance. How confident were you and were your corner that you got the win, and what did it feel like when your name was announced? Because there is that little question, unlike in wrestling when you already know. So talk about that.
It was nice. I mean, I was about as confident as you can be for a decision that I had won. I felt like I got the job done. I'm not gonna lie, I was a little disappointed because I did want to get a finish. I felt like that definitely wasn't the best version of myself right now. Obviously, I'm gonna improve in the future and keep growing. But yesterday, that wasn't the best I could perform. So I was a little disappointed about that. But at the end of the day, I got my hand raised and I was happy about that.
Well, I'm glad you had confidence going into it. There is always that time where you have to at least wait for it to be announced, because unfortunately I've seen, probably not yours. Yours was such a dominant fight. It would have been really something if it hadn't gone your way. But I have seen some decisions where, being cage side and watching it, I thought it would go another way. So you never know. But still, it was great. It was impressive. I loved how you said in your post fight interview, you really talked about you and your brother wanting to kind of have the Lledo take over. How much does it mean for you to really, you and your brother, to kind of have this journey? You'll have your own ups and downs in your career, but to do this journey together.
It really helps a lot because, I mean, first of all, he's my brother. We can talk about anything. Second of all, he's kind of like the blueprint. Like he's showing me the way. I'm sure down the road I can show him the way in a couple aspects of life and MMA. I can talk to him about anything. We can lean on each other. Like we're gonna be going through the exact same journey, so we can just really rely on each other, like as we keep going. So it's really helpful to have somebody like that, and you know you're not alone. Like through those hard workouts and stuff like that, he's going through the same exact thing, and we have that one common goal in mind. So it's really helpful having somebody like that through a journey.
Yeah, that is special. The bond of a brother, and I know he's super close with Juice, the former 247 amateur 205 champ, and obviously he's very connected at Southside. So you have your brother, which is the closest, and then obviously his network is also your network, which I think goes a long way. I'm pretty sure you didn't get hurt. You're feeling good. You're obviously still a Division 1 wrestler, but you still are off. You're off season. So how confident are you that you want to get back in there June 29th for 247? They're doing another incredible event at the Meadows, and is for you that's like just full engine, get a win, and move on. What's your thought there?
Right. Yesterday I was quick to accept the June 29th date, but I forgot we have a family vacation then, and so James and I probably aren't going to fight then unless something falls through. So I'm kind of disappointed about that, but I do think I need some time to improve as a mixed martial artist, to be honest. I'm still pretty raw right now. I'd say, I mean, obviously my wrestling's there, even that can improve, but I really want to fine tune my skills, maybe take this summer off and really just get in the lab and really get better and then showcase how much I've improved maybe next year after the wrestling season. But I really want to focus on improving right now.
Makes a lot of sense. You got your first taste of MMA, other than the sparring that you've been doing. So, you'll develop from there. I hope the legendary matchmaker for 247, Jim Mooney, didn't just fall out of his chair, because I think he was really looking forward to Lledo Brothers being on June. If I know him, I'll probably try to offer you guys both fights to just see if that, and having met your dad, maybe the family vacation can slide till the next week, July 4th weekend or the weekend after, where you guys can be celebrating as a family. But we will
Right.
wait to see. I can't wait to have you on again in the future whenever you next have your MMA fight, whether that's next summer or sometime, or sometime sooner than that. Can't wait to continue to follow you and your brother James. So thanks so much for coming on. Just a huge congratulations. What an impressive debut. There's always room for improvement, but 30-27 on all three judges for all three rounds means that you really couldn't have won any more dominantly without getting a finish, which of course I know is the game plan for next time. Thanks so much for coming on. You've been listening to Luke Payson with MMA Fancast, and brand new undefeated amateur MMA fighter with a record of 1-0, Jack Lledo. And I hope maybe next time you'll have a fight nickname, because your brother does have the great Las Vegas nickname. So we'll work on that. But I'm sure in the future you'll have a great nickname. Thanks so much for coming on.
Yeah. Thanks so much.
You got it, brother. Take care. Congratulations.